Gentlemen, let me ask you something important. Have you ever stopped and wondered whether the way you touch your body today is still the way your body actually needs to be touched after the age of 60? Maybe you've noticed that things don't feel quite the same anymore. Maybe sensations seem weaker than they used to be. Maybe your body takes longer to respond. Or perhaps you've simply found yourself questioning what is normal at this stage of life. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know that you're far from alone. In fact, this is one of the most common concerns I hear from men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. The question isn't only whether masturbation is healthy at this age. The real question is how to do it in a way that respects your body, supports your health, and allows you to continue feeling comfortable and confident as you grow older. I'm Dr. Jocelyn, a urologist and men's health specialist. For years, I've helped men understand their changing bodies, maintain their sexual health, and continue enjoying a strong sense of confidence and well-being throughout the aging process. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that many men think about but very few openly talk about. We're going to explore how to masturbate safely after 60, and we'll look closely at 3 common mistakes that can quietly interfere with your comfort, satisfaction, and overall health. Before we begin, if you appreciate honest, practical advice without judgment or embarrassment, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment letting me know where you're watching from. My goal is to provide straightforward guidance that helps men stay informed, healthy, and confident at every stage of life. Now, let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions right away. Masturbation is not something that suddenly becomes unhealthy because you've reached a certain age. Quite the opposite. For many men, especially after 60, regular and gentle self-stimulation can be an important part of maintaining physical and emotional wellness. There are several reasons for this. One of the most significant benefits is improved blood circulation to the penis. Healthy blood flow helps maintain tissue quality and may reduce the stiffness and loss of elasticity that can develop over time. It can also support prostate health by encouraging circulation throughout the pelvic region and helping reduce feelings of congestion. In addition, masturbation can lower stress levels by reducing certain stress hormones, helping your nervous system relax and often improving sleep quality as well. Beyond the physical benefits, it also helps maintain a connection with your own body. That connection matters more than many men realize. Feeling comfortable with your body contributes to confidence, emotional balance, and an overall sense of well-being. However, there is something extremely important to understand. The body you have at 60, 70, or beyond is not the same body you had at 25. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It simply means your body has changed, which is a completely normal part of aging. The skin becomes thinner. Nerve sensitivity may gradually decrease. Blood vessels lose some of their flexibility. Recovery can take longer than it once did. These changes are not signs of failure. They are natural biological adjustments that happen to all of us. Instead of fighting those changes, the healthiest approach is to adapt to them. Your body is asking for a different kind of attention now. It is asking for patience rather than force. It is asking for awareness rather than urgency. And when you learn to respond in that way, something remarkable happens. Many men discover they feel more connected to themselves, more relaxed during intimate moments, and ultimately more satisfied with the experience. Throughout my years working with older men, I've spoken with thousands of patients who share a common goal. They want to age without losing their sense of intimacy, confidence, and comfort within their own bodies. What surprises many of them is learning that habits they developed decades ago may no longer be serving them well today. In some cases, the techniques they've always relied on can actually contribute to irritation, tension, decreased sensitivity, and ongoing frustration. That's why it's so important to understand that the goal of masturbation after 60 isn't performance. It's not about speed. It's not about proving anything. The real goal is maintaining health, comfort, circulation, and pleasure in a way that supports both your body and your mind. Unfortunately, many men unknowingly fall into a few common patterns that work against those goals. The good news is that these habits are easy to recognize and, even better, easy to change. The first mistake, and perhaps the most common one I see, is rushing through the experience. Many men don't realize what actually happens inside the body when they hurry. When you're rushing, your nervous system interprets that urgency as a form of stress. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tighten, blood vessels begin to constrict instead of opening fully. As a result, your body becomes less responsive and pleasure often decreases rather than improves. What should be a calming and satisfying experience starts feeling more mechanical and less enjoyable. On an emotional level, rushing can also create an unhealthy relationship with self-pleasure. It can make the experience feel like something that needs to be hidden, completed quickly, or treated as a task rather than a healthy form of self-care. Over time, this pattern can train the brain to associate touch with pressure and tension rather than comfort and enjoyment. Fortunately, the solution is simple. Slow down. Even adding a few extra minutes can make a tremendous difference in how your body responds. Before you even begin, take a moment to settle yourself. Breathe slowly and deeply. Allow your shoulders to relax. Put away distractions, silence your phone, and create an environment where you don't feel rushed or pressured. Many men underestimate how much this simple step can improve the experience. Your body does not require elaborate preparation or complicated routines. What it truly needs is a sense of safety and calm. When you feel relaxed, your nervous system shifts into a state that supports pleasure rather than stress. Blood vessels naturally widen, circulation improves, and the nerve endings throughout the penis become more responsive. This creates the conditions your body needs to experience healthy arousal. Emotionally, slowing down sends an equally important message. It teaches your mind that intimate touch is something positive and nourishing rather than something that must be hurried through. Over time, this can strengthen your connection with your body and improve overall satisfaction. Many of my patients tell me that once they stopped rushing and began approaching self-pleasure with patience, they noticed better sensitivity, greater control, and a much deeper sense of relaxation. What once felt routine suddenly became more rewarding and meaningful. Sometimes the smallest adjustment produces the biggest improvement. The second mistake is using excessive pressure. This is a habit that often develops gradually and without conscious awareness. As men grow older, changes in sensation can lead them to believe they need stronger stimulation in order to achieve the same level of pleasure. In response, they may grip more tightly or use increasingly forceful movements. While that approach might seem effective in the short term, it can actually create problems over time. The penis is not designed to withstand constant aggressive pressure. Its structure contains delicate nerves, sensitive tissues, and a network of blood vessels that require care. Repeatedly applying too much force can contribute to irritation, microscopic damage to the skin, and increased sensitivity issues. Some men even develop a situation where their bodies become accustomed to one very specific type of intense stimulation. As a result, other forms of touch may feel less satisfying. This can create frustration and confusion, particularly when intimacy with a partner no longer feels the same. Many men assume aging is solely responsible, when in reality their habits may be playing a significant role. The important thing to understand is that more pressure does not automatically mean more pleasure. In fact, the opposite is often true. The healthier approach is to reduce intensity and focus on quality of sensation. Allow your movements to be gentler and more deliberate. Consider using a high-quality, fragrance-free lubricant to reduce friction and protect the skin. Lubrication becomes increasingly valuable with age because the skin naturally becomes thinner and more vulnerable to irritation. Think of lubrication not as an optional extra, but as a simple tool that supports comfort and healthy circulation. Instead of concentrating on reaching an end result as quickly as possible, pay attention to the sensations themselves. Notice how different areas respond to touch. Notice changes in temperature, texture, and pressure. Treat the experience less like a race and more like an opportunity to reconnect with your body. Biologically, this approach supports healthy nerve function and encourages better blood flow throughout the tissues. Emotionally, it reduces the frustration that can come from chasing intensity. Practically, it often results in more consistent pleasure and greater confidence. Many men are surprised to discover that when they stop forcing their bodies to respond and start working with their bodies instead, satisfaction actually increases. The goal is not to overpower sensation. The goal is to allow sensation to develop naturally. There is another benefit to gentler stimulation that often goes unnoticed. It helps preserve flexibility in your sexual response. When the body becomes dependent on a very narrow range of intense sensations, it can become less adaptable over time. Gentle and varied touch encourages a broader response pattern, making intimacy feel more natural and enjoyable. This is particularly important for men who are in relationships or hope to maintain intimate connections in the future. Healthy sexual function is not only about erections or physical performance. It is also about comfort, responsiveness, and the ability to enjoy closeness without frustration or pressure. Every time you choose patience over force, you are investing in your long-term sexual health. You are helping maintain circulation, protecting delicate tissues, and supporting the natural responsiveness of your nervous system. These benefits may not be immediately obvious after a single session, but over months and years, they can make a meaningful difference. Aging successfully is often about small, consistent habits, and this is one of them. By respecting your body's changing needs, you create the conditions for continued pleasure, confidence, and comfort throughout the later decades of life. Now let's talk about the third mistake, and in many ways, it may be the most important one of all. Unlike rushing or using too much pressure, this mistake has very little to do with physical technique. Instead, it begins in the mind. The third mistake is ignoring your emotional health. Many men spend years focusing on the physical side of sexuality while overlooking the emotional health, factors that quietly influence every aspect of sexual function. The reality is that your emotions and your body are deeply connected. Stress, anxiety, guilt, frustration, loneliness, and shame do not simply disappear because you choose to ignore them. They often settle into the body itself. They affect breathing patterns. They create muscle tension. They influence blood flow. They alter the way the nervous system responds to stimulation. As a result, emotional stress can directly interfere with arousal, reduce pleasure, and make erections less reliable. Many men become concerned when they notice changes in sexual response, but they fail to recognize that emotional strain may be playing a larger role than they realize. Your mind and body are constantly communicating with each other. When one is struggling, the other often reflects that struggle. Over the years, I've spoken with many men who carry emotional burdens they have never discussed with anyone. Some grew up hearing messages that made them feel ashamed about sexuality. Others developed guilt from cultural expectations or personal experiences. Some simply feel discouraged because their bodies no longer respond exactly the way they did decades ago. These feelings can be surprisingly powerful. Even when they remain in the background, they can influence how a man experiences intimacy and self-pleasure. Unfortunately, many men interpret these changes as evidence that something is wrong with them. They begin to believe they are losing their masculinity, falling behind, or somehow failing. Nothing could be further from the truth. Aging is not failure. Change is not failure. The body evolves throughout life, and every stage comes with its own adjustments. The problem arises when men judge themselves harshly, instead of adapting with understanding and patience. Self-criticism creates tension. Tension creates stress, and stress interferes with healthy sexual function. This cycle can continue for years if it is never addressed. The solution begins with compassion. That word may sound simple, but it carries tremendous power. Treat yourself with the same understanding you would offer a close friend facing similar challenges. Remind yourself that you are not broken. You are not defective. You are not somehow less valuable because your body has changed with age. You are simply entering a different stage of life that requires a different approach. Give yourself permission to reconnect with your body slowly and without pressure. Let go of unrealistic expectations. Let go of comparisons to your younger years. Your goal is not to recreate the past. Your goal is to support the body you have today. When you approach self-pleasure with patience and self-respect, You create an environment where both your mind and body can work together rather than against each other. If emotional concerns feel overwhelming, there is no shame in seeking support. A trusted physician, therapist, counselor, or even a supportive friend can often provide perspective and reassurance. Sometimes a conversation can remove years of unnecessary worry. From a biological perspective, reducing emotional stress has measurable effects on the body. When stress levels decrease, blood vessels relax and widen more easily. Improved circulation allows oxygen and nutrients to reach tissues more effectively. Nerve endings become more responsive. The body shifts away from a state of alertness and into a state that supports healing, relaxation, and arousal. Hormonal balance also benefits when chronic stress is reduced. Emotionally, the benefits can be even greater. Men often report feeling more confident, more comfortable, and more connected to themselves. The experience of self-pleasure becomes less about performance and more about personal well-being. Instead of feeling rushed, anxious, or frustrated, they begin to feel calm and satisfied. This shift may seem subtle at first, but over time, it can dramatically improve quality of life. Sexual health is not separate from emotional health. The two are inseparably linked. When you care for one, you strengthen the other. One of the most valuable lessons I try to teach my patients is that intimacy begins long before physical touch occurs. It begins with the way you think about yourself. It begins with the way you respond to challenges and changes. It begins with your willingness to accept your body with kindness rather than criticism. Every man experiences physical changes as he ages. That reality is unavoidable. What matters is how you choose to respond. You can view those changes as losses, or you can view them as invitations to develop a deeper understanding of your body and its needs. Men who make that shift often discover something remarkable. They find that pleasure does not disappear with age. In many cases, it becomes more meaningful because it is no longer driven by urgency or expectation. Instead, it is guided by awareness, appreciation, and genuine connection. That perspective can transform not only your sexual experiences, but also your overall sense of confidence and well-being. Now that we've discussed the three major mistakes men often make after 60, let's talk about how to create a healthier and safer approach moving forward. Because understanding what to avoid is only one part of the process. The next step is learning what your body actually needs. A healthy routine after 60 is not complicated. It is built around simple principles that support your physical comfort, emotional balance, and long-term sexual health. The first foundation is cleanliness. This may sound obvious, but it is something that should never be overlooked. Before any intimate activity, make sure your hands are clean and your environment is comfortable and private. Use fresh towels and maintain basic hygiene. As men age, the skin can become more sensitive and more prone to irritation, so small details matter. Clean habits help reduce the risk of discomfort, inflammation, or unnecessary problems. Taking care of your body in these simple ways is not about being overly cautious. It is about showing respect for yourself and your health. The second foundation is proper lubrication. This is one of the easiest changes a man can make, yet many still ignore it. As the body ages, natural moisture levels and skin elasticity can change. This means friction that once caused no issues may now lead to irritation or sensitivity problems. A gentle, fragrance-free lubricant can provide protection and make the experience much more comfortable. The purpose is not to change who you are or create a complicated routine. The purpose is simply to reduce unnecessary stress on delicate tissues. Think of it as basic care for your body. Just as you protect your joints, your heart, and your skin, you should also protect sensitive areas that require attention. The goal is comfort, not intensity. The third important element is presence. Many men approach self-pleasure with their mind somewhere else. They are thinking about problems, responsibilities, stress, or simply trying to finish quickly. But the body responds best when the mind is actually involved. Being present means paying attention to your sensations instead of focusing only on the final result. Slow down. Notice how your body feels. Listen to the signals it gives you. This type of awareness can improve your connection with your own body and help you understand changes that occur naturally with age. When you practice being present, you move away from pressure and toward relaxation. This is where true satisfaction often comes from. Another important part of a healthy routine is body awareness. Your body communicates with you constantly, but many men ignore those signals. Pay attention to anything unusual. Notice if there is pain, swelling, irritation, or discomfort. These are not things to push through or dismiss. Pain is your body's way of asking for attention. If something doesn't feel right, slow down and evaluate what is happening. Healthy sexual activity should never involve forcing your body beyond its limits. The goal is not to prove endurance. The goal is to maintain comfort, function, and a positive relationship with yourself. Being aware of your body's signals is one of the most effective ways to protect your health as you get older. The next foundation is emotional connection. This is where many men experience the greatest change. Self-pleasure should not be connected with guilt, embarrassment, or negative thoughts. It should be approached as a normal part of understanding and caring for your body. Many older men have spent decades believing they should not discuss these topics. They were taught to stay silent. But silence often creates unnecessary worry. When you allow yourself to approach the subject with maturity and self-respect, the experience changes completely. You are no longer hiding from your body. You are learning from it. That shift can improve confidence and reduce the emotional stress that often affects sexual health. Finally, remember the importance of routine without turning it into pressure. A healthy routine is not about frequency or following some strict schedule. Every man's body is different. What matters is consistency and mindfulness. Even short periods of calm, intentional self-care can support circulation, sensitivity, and body awareness. The goal is not to chase a certain outcome. The goal is to maintain a healthy relationship with your body over time. Think of it like exercise. You don't exercise because one workout changes everything. You do it because small actions repeated consistently create long-term benefits. The same principle applies here. Small, respectful habits can protect your comfort and confidence for years to come. There is one final point I want every man watching this video to understand. Getting older does not mean your connection with your body, your confidence, or your ability to experience pleasure has to disappear. In fact, many men discover that this stage of life gives them an opportunity to understand themselves in a completely different way. When you are younger, many decisions are driven by hormones, urgency, and the desire to perform. But as you age, the focus can shift toward awareness, comfort, and true connection. This is not a step backward. It is a more mature understanding of your own health. Your body has changed, and the way you care for it should change as well. The goal is not to fight aging. The goal is to age wisely. Many men come to me worried that changes in their sexual response mean something is wrong. They notice that their body needs more time. They notice that sensations are different. They notice that things are not exactly the same as they were years ago. But these changes alone do not mean you have lost your vitality. They are often simply signs that your body requires a different approach. A car that has been driven for many years needs different maintenance than a brand new one. The same idea applies to your body. It does not become useless with age. It simply requires more attention and care. When you listen to your body instead of fighting against it, you create the best conditions for continued health and confidence. One of the most important habits you can develop is patience. Many men spend years believing that faster and stronger means better, but your body does not work that way, especially as you get older. Your nervous system, circulation, and tissues respond best when they are treated with respect. Rushing, excessive pressure, and emotional stress can all interfere with the natural processes that support sexual health, but small changes can create major improvements. Slowing down allows your body to respond naturally. Using gentler techniques protects sensitivity. Managing emotional stress improves the connection between your mind and body. These are simple adjustments, but they can have a powerful impact over time. I also want to remind you that knowing when to seek medical advice is a sign of strength, not weakness. If you experience persistent pain, unusual swelling, significant changes in function, or concerns related to your prostate or urinary health, speak with a qualified medical professional. Many men wait too long because they feel embarrassed discussing these topics. But as a urologist, I can tell you that these conversations are normal. Doctors hear these concerns every day. There is no need to suffer silently when help is available. Taking care of your health means being willing to ask questions and get answers. Your sexual health is connected to your overall health. The same habits that protect your heart, your circulation, and your mental well-being also support your intimate health. Staying physically active, eating a balanced diet, managing stress, getting enough sleep, and maintaining healthy relationships all contribute to better function as you age. Self-care is not limited to one area of your life. Your body works as a complete system, and every healthy choice supports the others. This is why a thoughtful approach to intimacy after 60 is not just about pleasure. It is about maintaining quality of life. So remember the three major lessons from today. First, do not rush. Your body deserves time and attention. Second, avoid using unnecessary force. Sensitivity is something to protect, not something to challenge. Third, never ignore your emotional health. Your thoughts, feelings, and physical responses are deeply connected. When you care for your mind and body together, you create a healthier and more balanced experience. Gentle, mindful self-pleasure after 60 is not something to feel embarrassed about. It is simply one part of understanding and caring for yourself. Your body still matters. Your comfort still matters. Your confidence still matters. Every stage of life brings changes, but those changes do not remove your ability to feel connected, respected, and fulfilled. In many ways, the most powerful thing you can do is stop comparing yourself to who you were decades ago and start appreciating who you are today. If this information helped you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more practical men's health advice. Like this video and share it with someone who may benefit from hearing this message. I also want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what topics you'd like me to cover next. These conversations are important because many men are silently searching for answers but don't know where to begin. Remember, age is not the end of vitality. With the right knowledge, the right habits, and the right mindset, you can continue protecting your health, confidence, and quality of life at every stage. Stay informed, take care of your body, and always treat yourself with the respect you deserve. 10 clickable YouTube titles. 1. Urologist reveals 3 mistakes men over 60 make when masturbating. 2. After 60, a urologist explains how to protect your sexual health. 3. Men over 60 need to know this about masturbation. Urologist advice. 4. Urologist warns, stop making these 3 mistakes after age 65. What happens when men continue old habits after 60? Doctor explains 6. The truth about masturbation. After 60, nobody talks about 7. Over 60 and still active? Avoid these sexual health mistakes. 8. Urologist explains the right way to care for your body after 69. Aging men, these hidden habits may affect your sexual health. Doctor reveals the biggest mistakes men make as they get older. So description. As men get older, the body changes, but that doesn't mean confidence, intimacy, or sexual health have to disappear. In this video, Dr. Jocelyn, a urologist and men's health specialist, explains how men over 60 can approach masturbation safely and comfortably. She reveals 3 common mistakes many older men make and shares practical advice for maintaining circulation, sensitivity, confidence, and overall wellness. This educational video covers aging, men's health, prostate support, sexual wellness, body awareness, and healthy habits after 60. Understanding your body is the first step toward protecting your health and quality of life. Subscribe for more doctor-backed men's health guidance. Tags: men over 60 health, urologist advice, men's sexual health, masturbation after 60, prostate health, aging men health, Dr. Jocelyn urologist, men's wellness, erectile health, sexual health after 60, healthy aging tips, senior men's health, urology advice, male confidence, men's body changes, prostate care, older men wellness, sexual wellness, health tips for men. Urologist explains.